What's going on, everyone? My name is SiahZ, and today I'm showing you my Poison Pathfinder Ranger build guide. This build absolutely blasts through bosses, doing 20 million damage, killing them within a second, and being able to do multi-man maxed out pinnacle boss carries. Being able to also have screen-wide and off-screen chain clearing, thanks to Poison Spiral Volley that we are running, and zooming through maps as well, having 100% move speed, being able to clear maps insanely fast. Overall, this build combines everything you want with insane move speed and clearing and incredible bossing DPS. Also, a huge shout out to Min GPU for helping me research and figure out a lot of stuff for this build. Before we get into it, if you guys are enjoying the build guides and you're liking what I'm doing here on the channel, you can consider hitting a like on the video and a subscribe to the YouTube channel. It does help me out immensely, and it also helps with the YouTube algorithm, and in turn, currently that is the best way to support me. I also should be live right now streaming on YouTube and Twitch. The links for that will be in the description as well as the comment section of the video. All right, let's get right into it. Now we can get into gear. As for the bow we are running an Obliterator bow. This is going to have the highest base physical damage, and we don't really need an extra arrow from Gemini, since obviously that won't affect Acidic Concoction, since you can't have basically any main hand weapon. And also for clearing with Spiral Volley doesn't really help as much either. And obviously going with a higher base physical damage like Obliterator bow will lead to a higher base magnitude of poison. As for what we're looking for on an Obliterator bow, you want to basically shoot for a very high percent physical damage and flat physical, just to go for obviously the highest physical damage we can possibly get. So try to shoot for that. You should be able to honestly craft a pretty decent physical damage bow for only a few divines. I wouldn't really buy one, as it is much cheaper to actually craft one. But off of that, once you get a high physical damage, it's really easy to just roll on other junk like extra damage is physical, onslaught with hits, plus level attack skills, etc. There's a bunch of crafting stuff out there, and I might even look into making a crafting guide for this build with the bows and stuff like that. If you guys want to see that, please let me know in the comment section below. But it's pretty easy to craft a very high base physical damage bow, and that's what we're shooting for here, so look for that. As for our quiver, we're running Kadira's Gambit. This is going to be a really good quiver with Spiral Volley. It's going to allow us to get a lot of really good stuff off of it. For example, we can get Covetous Arrows with 600% increased rarity of items killed. Since we're running obviously Spiral Volley, we're chaining, right? We're off-screen clearing. We can get a lot of these Covetous Arrows to actually kill the enemies, meaning that we're going to get a lot of increased rarity through the enemies, obviously. So that's really nice. Plus, you can get stuff like Diamond, where it's always critting, which is kind of nice for, you know, just going in for extra damage. I mean, reversing is nice because they'll come back to us and pierce all targets. So there's a lot of useful stuff we can get out of Kadira's Gambit, and that's going to be one of the best quivers we can run for mapping it. As far as bossing, we do swap in a quiver. You only need to do this when you're going against really high pinnacle bossing, right? Multi-man carries, etc. But what you want to look for on a just rare quiver to juice the DPS of Poison Burst Arrow, so we can get a lot more damage with Acidic Concoction, is you want to look for physical damage, damage with bow skills, projectile speed, and then just level to projectile skills. That is pretty much the only thing that's going to give us damage for this, and that's what we want to roll on a quiver. But like I said, you only need to do this if you're running like high pinnacle bossing, multi-man carries, etc. For our helmet, we are running the Constricting Command Viper cap. Again, this is going to allow us to get a super amount of increased attack damage and stuff off the tree, since we are going to be kind of as being surrounded 24/7. Plus, it also helps us getting a lot of move speed, attack speed, etc. Try to get one with 5 or fewer enemies to be surrounded. This is basically going to mean that we're always surrounded, since you do need to have 5 people to be surrounded. So this basically makes it to where it's 0 enemies required to be near you. So we have permanent surround up. Like I said, a lot of attack damage, attack speed, move speed, etc. that we're going to get off the tree. As far as our body armor, we are running a Falconeer's Jacket. I'm running this just for the move speed. If you did want to have like a lot higher defensive layers, I would just shoot for a really high evasion based like body armor, as that is going to give us a lot more evasion, and we'll still have about like 1,000 or so, 900 to 1,000 energy shield, which is really good enough for the build. So you could shoot for that. If you want move speed, obviously go Falconeers. Again, you want to look for a very high evasion rating with res to be res capped if you can, and gain deflection rating. That is going to be the best basically you can roll. If you're going Falconeers, obviously high evasion and energy shield as well, looking for the other stuff that I just mentioned. As far as our gloves, we are running energy shield gloves. Now I don't have these at like a high roll. I missed obviously on the desecration, which I'm going to go through and just try to reroll out down the line to get more energy shield on them. But evasion gloves, energy shield gloves, hybrid gloves would all work here. You can look for any of those 3, the cheapest you can get on the market. Whatever you want to do is fine here. Just look for, again, physical damage to attacks, and that's pretty much the only thing that's really going to give us more damage to obviously our poisons, aka more damage overall with Acidic Concoction. So we want to look for that, and then just life if we can on most of the gear, reses, and that's pretty much it. As far as our boots go, again, I'm running energy shield based boots. We want to look for a really high energy shield, obviously, with reses and 35% increased move speed. I would love to roll on here like double sockets, increased effective socketed items, right? Throw the move speed runes in. but each move speed runes are like 14 divs each, right? So I can't really afford that at the current time. If we were to do that, we'd be like 130, 140% move speed, and it'd be a lot better, obviously, to zip zoom around through the maps. But obviously, this is totally fine as well. You don't need to have that, right? As far as the jewelry, we are running the Darkness and Throne bout. This is going to be one of the best bouts you can actually roll on the build, because we are want to look for socket items that was gloves. So this way the bout will act as being like a glove, so we can throw glove runes in, right? And then you can also get increased effective socketed items. You want to shoot for 100% or higher. From there, we can throw in the increased magnitude of damaging ailments you inflict, and it'll be about 30%, but it's doubling it, so we get 60%, which is huge amount of increased damage. So that's why this is the best bout here. If you want to have more move speed, you don't really, you think you're fine with damage, just say you can throw in a headhunter here. Obviously, headhunters are super expensive, but they are really good for mapping, so do keep that in mind. As far as our amulet, I am running a gold amulet here. You can run pretty much whatever base amulet you want, right? That'll help you. If you need spirit, you can run solar, but what we want to look for is increased evasion, energy shield, and spirit, as well as level to projectile skills. Those are going to be the best 4 stats that we can get on amulet. Obviously, if you need reses, you can roll that on as well. But as far as the anoint, we do want lasting trauma, as this is going to give a lot more increased magnitude of ailments, plus increased duration of damaging ailments, so just way more damage overall. For bossing, I do go ahead and throw an Idol of Uldren in here. This is just going to allow our skills to have +1 limit, and the interaction that we basically do is we throw a vine arrow down. We'll poison burst the boss, which poisons the vines, and that allows the vines to be poisoned and just basically allow it to interact and poison the boss multiple times a second, meaning that whenever we throw a flask down, right, and we consume the poison to do the damage, it auto re-poisons the boss. So we want to have more vines, which means more poison damage, right, which means more damage overall, and this just allows us to have another vine on the ground, so we go from 2 to 3, so it's really huge there. So pretty much when you're bossing, you'll throw this amulet in, then you'll throw in a good rare quiver if you're doing, like, again, a high pinnacle bossing, etc., multi-man carries, and then after that, when you're done, you'll replace it. As far as the rings, we just want to look for physical damage, life, reses, and then if we can cast res, obviously you could do increased cast damage as well on there. That will give us the most damage overall, but it's not needed. Now we can get into the skills. So for Acidic Concoction, you can't have anything on weapons at 1, so keep that in mind. But basically what we're going to be doing is running Nova projectiles. We want to have basically more flasks coming out, since we can shotgun a boss, right? So having all of them come out, you can just aim at your feet and you'll basically shotgun. So keep that in mind. The more projectiles, the better. Magnified area, obviously, to have increased area of effect for overlapping. Rapid attacks, so we can throw the flask quicker to get more damage out. Projectile acceleration for 40% more projectile speed, which is really nice. And then finally, Calling Strike 2. It's just nice to have it on there so we can Calling Strike the boss and some rares and stuff like that, which, adds a little bit more DPS overall to the skill. As for Spiral Volley, we're going to be having Defy 2. This is going to give our skills lucky hits, since we are going to be always kind of surrounded. Bursting Plague, this is just going to add a lot more basically damage per second to them for every second they're poisoned and stuff like that. Going with Armor Break, because we do need to obviously generate Frenzy Charges. Since with the Frenzy Charge nerfs, you kind of have to go in the Armor Break side of it. So this way you can break armor and then try to get a 20% chance of an Endurance Charge once you fully break their armor. So we're going to play into that and go Resonance on the tree. So this way our Endurance Charges will be Frenzy Charges. So this way obviously Spiral Volley can work. So that's why we go with Armor Break 3. We're going to go Corrosion, because this will allow our poisons from supported skills will also break armor equal to 80% of the poison damage. So it helps with that, right? Really juices the armor break and allows us to get a lot more Endurance Charges, aka Frenzy Charges uptime. And then finally, Poison 3, obviously, to have 60% chance to poison with Spiral Volley, making it actually, do poison damage with Corrosion, etc., armor breaking. You guys get the point. As far as Poison Burst Arrow, again, this is our main boss. If you guys are having some tanky rares, you can just Poison Burst, once or twice on them. Throw one Acidic Flask, and then they're basically dead. We're going to be supporting this with Defy 2 again for lucky hits, going with Deadly Poisons 2 for obviously the increased magnitude and stuff like that of poisons inflicted with skills. Concentrated Area to have 30% more area damage, since this is counted as an AoE skill. Going with Prolonged Duration to have more skill effect duration, aka more duration of the poison. And then finally, we're running Ringwald's Ferocity. Now, the reason why we're running this skill, obviously, is we're throwing the Poison Burst Arrow in weapon set 2, meaning that we're going to get 30% more damage, meaning obviously the poison damage and all that will be a lot more. So that's why we want to go ahead and use Ringwald's Ferocity. So this way we have more magnitude of poisons, aka more damage for Acidic Concoction. Now we get into Vine Arrow. So we are going to run Prolonged Duration. So this way Vine Arrow stays up longer, aka poisons the boss, for a longer period, etc. Then we have Magnified Area 1 to have 35% increased area effects, so more overlapping, right? Overabundance, so we can have 2 of them out instead of 1. Mixed out with the amulet, that's 3. Slow potency, so this would have more slow magnitude, right, which is nice for bosses and stuff like that. They're really fast. And then rapid attacks, just to have more attack speed with the skill to get it down quicker. Then we get into Despair. This is basically going to be our curse to lower cast resistance. Honestly, I don't really use this a lot, to be honest. Like, you can throw this on bosses before you poison them. You will get a little bit more damage, but it's not insane in my testings. This is just more for like rares and stuff that are kind of tanky. But we still use it, obviously, with Heightened Curse for more magnitude of it. Ritualistic Curse to have more AoE of it. And then Curse Ground to throw it into like an AoE duration skill, obviously with Prolonged Duration. Have more effect duration of Despair. Then we're running Withering Presence. This way, basically, we wither enemies and our presence every 1.4 seconds. Wither just means that they'll take 5% increased cast damage taken, and we can inflict that up to 10 times. So we're doing that, obviously, with Prolonged Duration to have more duration of the Wither effect, and then just cast Mastery for another skill in it. We're running Ghost Dance, obviously, so this way we can get Energy Shield back, going up to 7% of our evasion. Since we have really good evasion and really good energy shield, this is really nice for survivability with compressed duration, to have less skill effect duration and stuff like that on Ghost Dance. Then we get into Wind Dancer. Again, we have the Spirit, we can run it. It's just a lot more evasion rating, you know, which is really nice. It plays into like Ghost Dance, all that good junk. Going with Blind too, well, so this way when Wind Dancer procs and it like pushes enemies back, you know, does a little bit of damage, etc. We'll blind them, we'll pin them with pin 1, right? We have poison 3, so this way we'll have a chance of poisoning them 2 on a procs, and then we can maim them as well. Finally, we get an Herald of Plague. Again, this is more just for clearing with Spiral Volley. It is really nice to have that basically spreading of poisons on an enemy, right, whenever we kill them with Spiral Volley. So it's really nice here. And then we go with Chaos Mastery in it for another level into Herald of Plague. I don't have anything in the last skill slot. I'm thinking of and trying to figure out what we could throw in here. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know in the comment section below. As far as Ascendancy, we are obviously Pathfinder. We're going to be going into up here to Acidic Concoction, going in with Thawing Campfire. I like the Immune to Freeze, but you can do pretty much anything here, like Immune to Shock, Immune to Ignite, whatever you want, you can throw it on. We do go into Sustainable Practices. 50% of our evasion rating also grants elemental damage reduction. Right now, if I look at my elemental damage reduction, we have pretty insane stuff. We have a 51% elemental damage reduction against hits, which is really good. And then finally, we'll do Traveler's Wisdom, obviously, for the 5 additional passive skill points. We are going to be going down and taking Blur. I mean, it's just a lot of increased move speed. There's no reason not to do that since we're trying to push move speed. Obviously, we'll be going up to the top path here with the attributes, going into Hone Instincts for that attack speed, projectile speed, etc. on Dex. Then we're going to be heading up and taking Step Like Mist for the increased move speed and all that, Dex Intelligence. Coming up and going into Shimmering again for the increased move speed, plus the increased evasion and energy shield is kind of nice there. Obviously, we have to go into Resonance, so this way we can actually get frenzy charges from endurance charges. We're going to be going into Spectral Ward for the increased energy shield per 12 evasion rating on our body armor. That's really good for hybrid like evasion energy shield and really good for just full evasion body armors as well. Going down, and we're going to be going into the bottom side here, going into Leeching Toxins. A lot of increased magnitude of poisons, plus 2% max life recovered on killing a poison enemy, which is really nice for survivability. We're going to be coming back down from the starting area, heading up and going into Crippling Toxins. A lot of increased magnitude of poisons, plus we have a chance to maim them once we hit an enemy that is poisoned, which is really nice. Coming down actually from here and going into Prolonged Assault. This is going to give us a lot of increased attack damage, but it's also going to give us increased skill effect duration, meaning our poisons will last a lot longer, right? Meaning more damage over time, and meaning way more damage with Acidic Concoction. Finally coming up and taking Lasting Toxins again for increased poison duration, skill effect duration, all that good junk. Now, I don't take any like stacking toxins, so I don't take anything that gives +1 poisons. The reason for that is vines can only have 1 stack of poison on them, so you can't have multiple stacks of poisons on your vines. So that's why I only do 1 stack. If you wanted to have a little bit better clear, you could go ahead and take one of these for just +1 poisons and stuff. I don't find it necessary, so that's why I don't take it. We're going to be going into Escape Velocity, obviously, for the increased evasion and move speed, which is really nice. Coming down and going into Maiming Strike for just basically the increased attack damage and move speed that we get from this bottom move speed and attack damage node. Then we're going to be coming up and taking Feathered Fletching. Since we do have projectile speed and stuff like that on our quiver for bossing, I do take this. If you don't have one that has projectile speed, you can drop these 3 nodes and just take like more poison damage or defensive layers, etc. We're going to be heading up and taking this Jewel Socket. Again, I'll get into all the jewels after we go through the full passive tree. Going into these skill speed nodes into acceleration. Skill speed is just like stuff like attack speed, junk like that, right? Plus the move speed is really nice. We're we're going to be coming down and actually taking these 2 nodes. This is 4% increase in move speed, so there's no reason not to take this. After we take these move speeds, we will be going into deterioration. It just increases magnitude of damaging ailments, and it's right on our path, so there's no reason not to take it. More damage. Then we can finally start to go into the surround nodes. So we're going to basically follow all this into this jewel socket, and right here is a really nice cluster of surround. So going into this, we get a bunch of increased attack damage while surrounded, right? And we get a 10% increase in move speed while surrounded, which is really, really nice for the build. From here, we're going to basically go back and go straight up into the second cluster of surround. And this is even more increased attack damage plus 20% increased attack speed, which is massive for us. Since we're so close to this, we're going to take the jewel socket and go into adrenaline rush and take both of the basically move speed points. This is a lot of increased move speed if we've killed recently. Obviously, going through mapping and stuff, we always are killing, so we're going to have a lot more increased move speed because of that. Going in for the jewels, for the rare jewels we're running, you want to look for like magnitude of poisons inflict. You could also look for magnitude of damaging ailments, move speed, right? And then anything after that, like poison duration. You can also try to abyss it and desecrate it, and you can try to get on one that we have here. If I can find the rare one, which is all the way up here, I was able to get actually chance to poison and then double increased magnitude of poisons. So you could try to roll something like that as well, which is going to give us a lot of increased damage. From the unique ones we have, we are running a controlled metamorphosis here. Basically looking for medium large ring. This is going to allow us to grab stuff like enhanced reflexes, right, for increased evasion and gain deflection rating, which is really nice. Plus it allows us to go up here and get escalating toxins, so we get 10% increased duration for each poison we inflict recently, up to a maximum of 100. So just more and more and more damage that escalates on a boss, so it's really good there. And then the other one we're running is actually a from nothing diamond with chaos inoculation. Now, the reason why we are running this up here is because there's a lot of good nodes we can take for damage. So we're going to get Tempered Mind, which is 20% increased physical damage, and Strength, which is nice. Then we're also going to get Pure Chaos, 11% damage, extra cast damage, which is huge. And then finally, Wither Away. This is going to wither enemies when they enter our presence. So we get a stack, so they're basically going to be withered and stuff like that for 8 seconds. Plus we can increase magnitude of withered, so this is a lot more damage overall. And the from nothing with cast inoculation, I think, is only like 50-60 exalts. We are running a megalomaniac with low tolerance, so the reason why I wanted to grab that is because this gives 60% increased effect of poisons we inflict to targets that are not poison. So since obviously acidic concoction consumes poison and vine arrows are like reprocking it constantly, that means that obviously we're always going to basically pretty much get this 60% increase effect. So it's really huge there for damage, and that's why we run that. Finally, the last like unique thing we are running is a Heart of the Well, going for damage, extra cast damage, and move speed. Anything else you can roll on there. If you can do an extra damage is cool. If you can do increased evasion rating from equipped body armor, energy shield from equipped body armor, anything like that on top of the cast damage and move speed is ideally what we want. But that's it for this build guide. Like I said, the build feels absolutely amazing, being able to do 20+ million damage, right? Killing pinnacle bosses within a second, being able to do multi-man carries, having insane clear thanks to Spiral Volley, being able to do like off-screen chain clearing, 100% move speed, being able to zip through maps. And overall, I think you guys are really going to like it. As always, if you guys did enjoy the video and you're liking what I'm doing here on the channel, if you consider hitting a like to the video and a subscribe to the YouTube channel, it helps me out immensely, and it helps with the YouTube algorithm, and in turn, currently that is the best way to support me. Also should be live right now streaming on YouTube and Twitch. Link for that will be in the description as well as the comment section of the video. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night depending on you're watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.